What's up, everyone? This is Tony, and welcome back to the TLZ podcast. Before we get started today, I do want to remind everyone to please click that like button and the subscribe button down below. It does help with the YouTube algorithm, and it does make me extremely happy. And for the people that didn't watch the last podcast episode, there was actually a special announcement that you missed. Coach Lei, a two-time world champion, and I have started an online physical training class specifically for badminton players. We started it in April all the way up until now. And ever since then, it's been open to ZBTC Elite Team players only. But now, since we perfected it, we are opening it to the public. But I want everyone to keep in mind, this is not under ZBTC's name or any official club's name. It is just a class that is open to everyone. So no matter which club you're from, whether it's GBA, Bintang, BBC, Synergy, or in Canada, it doesn't matter. Everybody can take the class as long as you have Zoom downloaded. And we will be working on strengthening your body, your footwork, agility, and your reflexes. And every single plan for each class will be made by me and Coach Lei. And I will personally be instructing every single class. So if you're interested, make sure to DM me on my Instagram down below in the description. And also you can email me through the email in the description down below. So make sure if you're interested, definitely go do that. Now, let's get into the podcast. Joining us today is a Peru Future Series Champion, a Mauritius International Series Champion, Carebaco International Series Champion, and he also won the adult national title in 2019. Vinson Chiu, welcome, Vincent.
Thank you, Tony. Those were very amazing credentials you gave me. I feel a lot more professional than I really am.
You are, man. You are very professional.
No.
I think you are like a beacon of light for junior badminton players around, US, everywhere in US. And just like all of them, you play junior badminton, for your entire, childhood. What do you feel was your greatest takeaway for your time in junior badminton?
Greatest takeaway would probably be definitely the training. I think the way I train now is a lot more different than the way I trained in juniors. And I think it could be the culture of what training is supposed to be, or what training was like for me when I was little. But basically, I don't know. I felt like when I was little, whenever I showed a lot of effort or tried really hard, I felt like judgment from other people, like, oh, why is he trying so hard? Like he's a try hard or something. But yeah, as I got older and older, I was like, wait, I don't really care like what they think. Like they can say whatever they want. If I change the way I train, I'm just kind of letting them win, Yep.
Kind of like letting somebody else control what you're doing, right?
Yeah, and that's like, never a good thing. So you always want to be in control of what you want to do. So the biggest change and takeaway that I have implemented recently is like just not caring what other people think, even in training, like I'll just go all out or scream in a point or something. And I think it's definitely made a change in my game. So
yeah, I think junior badminton does, teach us these lessons that it's valuable, especially when we're younger. And then now as we mature up, and then, it becomes very impactful, right? And what do you miss the most about junior badminton in general?
I'd say my friends from all over the place. It was basically an excuse for, my best friend from Texas, my best friend from Seattle, my best friend from NorCal. We would all come together and just like hang out, and also not just like be there for fun, but also for something very serious and very important to all of us. And it's like the badminton tournament. And so it's always, nice to relax and like also have fun while you're at the tournaments, to make sure you're not like, giving yourself too much pressure or your nerves aren't too high. So I think I also met some of my closest friends through junior badminton. And so I would say I miss that aspect of juniors, but everything else is about the same as adults.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I actually wrote down in my notes, because like Vincent and I did talk before the podcast, and we didn't talk about this point, but it's funny because we actually wrote down the same thing. I wrote down my notes like, I think I miss like the camaraderie the most, right? Like
Uh,
that the relationships you have with your friends and the people you meet and everything.
right.
So yeah, that's definitely the highlight, I think, for
Yeah.
junior badminton, you know, because you meet a lot of different people, whether it's from the US or from another country, and you create these relationships that, you know, you guys compete on the court, and it just makes the bond even stronger, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
And yeah. And while we were talking before the podcast, you did mention that the 2015 Junior World Championships was one of like the most memorable like junior tournaments you ever played. What happened that made it so memorable?
So that year was in Peru, and basically we were supposed to play, or we did play Malaysia as a country, and the night before when we do our lineup, we talked about like
Wait, Vincent,
usually
let me interrupt you real quick. He's
yeah.
talking about team, guys, not individual. So team. Yeah.
Oh
team.
yeah. World Junior team, and then we were talking about the lineup, like who should play singles, doubles, mixed, and a lot of the coaches actually said like, you know, I think we should put everyone in, also because some of the parents also gave input of like, of course everyone wants their children to play, but a lot of parents gave their input, and so it's really hard for the coach to make a perfect decision because there is none. But we ended up saying, like, coming into the game with the mentality of we can't really beat Malaysia, so might as well put everyone who wants to play, just to give everyone court time. And funny thing is, we ended up going 2-2 against Malaysia, and then our decision, the final tiebreaker was women's doubles, and then we put a pair that has never played together before. And so I feel like if we were to put, you know, our first and strongest pair, we could have made history. You know, USA has never beaten Malaysia in team for badminton in anything, even adults, juniors, whatever. So I think that was really memorable, because from that point on, I was like, wow, like mentality can actually change the way outcomes can be. So, because before people would say, if you change your mindset, you can see the results. And it's like, that's weird. Mindset is something, you know, arbitrary and not concrete. And so I never was a true believer in that until I saw it happen that year. And so I was like, really, if we believe that we could win and we put our strongest lineup, we may as well like actually have won. And that would have been perfect. You know, that would have been a story to tell a lot of people. And
definitely. I actually talked to Coach Lei, who was actually the head coach of that year for the team in World Juniors. And I got her side of the story for it. And she said that like obviously I know my mom pretty well. She always wants to win because she's a competitor. You know, she would always want to win, but she does understand, you know, everybody's concern. Like, you guys flew all the way to play that tournament, and there's probably, in everyone's eyes, is like a very low chance of winning, right? So all parents want their kids to have a chance to just play on the court and have that experience, right? Which is very understandable. And she said that because that was like one of the things that she needed to like adjust to, she said she said it wasn't the worst lineup that you guys could have come up with, but she kind of just more spread the players a little more evenly. So like, at least you guys still have a chance to win the games. So I think that's her side of the story, which I thought was pretty interesting. But talking about the World Junior, like how everybody wants to just have a chance to play on the court, because, you know, obviously everybody's paying for their own flights and everything. What do you think USA Badminton needs to improve on?
Well, I think you covered it pretty well with the how everyone has to self-fund to travel to these tournaments. So there is this kind of underlying obligation that people feel to play and be put on court. And I think that is the main reason why, you know, coaches feel the need to like include everyone. And I understand that completely. If I was a coach, it's hard to make that kind of decision over, you know, benching someone forever, you know?
Yeah.
But Yeah, I think it's tough for USA to like compete with these countries if everyone is self-funded. If there was, like a national team or some government funding or USAB
Mhm,
funding for all the players, then
mhm.
this this sort of obligation to play on court kind of fades away. And so the coaches can feel free to like, they don't have to put everyone's feelings or like, their circumstances into account. They can just say like, all right, this guy's gonna win, this guy's gonna win, this guy's gonna win, so I'm gonna put them, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't come down to like kind of like I deserve to play because I paid X amount of money to be
Yeah.
here. So
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest flaw, right? Especially in these international tournaments that we play, like
mm,
because obviously the players, they spend a lot of money to come to these tournaments, so they all want a chance, which is very understandable. And it's what do you expect, when everybody pays so much, right? And
yeah.
like I was talking to Coach Lay about it. She said that for like countries like Malaysia, they have literally a set lineup because just from ranking,
Mhm.
just from ranking, you have to play this, you have to play that. It's not like, oh, I want to play this, right? Or something like that. And for US players, I think like, I think this actually is a very big problem because, for example, in that one Pan Am year that we played in Canada, you were already like you already gone to like, play in professionally, right? And this was like the last few years of my junior badminton, right? And
Mhm.
Coach Lay was the head coach once again for the Junior Pan Am team. And that year we didn't have like the greatest like players, right? But it was just like we weren't expected to win. But Coach Lay, I can only speak on like, what happened with Coach Lay because I know what happened with other coaches. I don't know, but with Coach Lay, she basically asked the players, do you guys want to win or do you guys want to just play? And in this year, all the players said we want to win. Okay. And with that, they were able to, bench a lot of people, send out the best teams, and they ended up winning the gold medal against Canada on, Canada's home ground, which is crazy good. And props to those team players. They played amazing. And Bree was actually one of them, your mixed doubles partner. And yeah, they played great. So I think it does make a big difference. US can actually win a lot more games if we can change this a little bit and make it more comfortable. So players are okay with being benched, right?
Mhm.
And because it's people need to sacrifice in the end, right? Just like how all other sports are.
Yeah.
And no matter what we do, we always have some that we think we could have done like better, right? If you could change one thing you did in junior badminton, what would it be?
Mm, I would say I wish I could have watched more badminton and uh, watched professional badminton earlier on in my career, in my junior career, because when I was around like 11, 12 years old, that's when I started watching more professional badminton. And then that, I don't know, watching pro players like gets me so excited and pumped up and like motivated to get better myself. And so actually that year from when I turned like from 12 to 13 years old, I felt the most improvement in all my events that year. And it was because I studied more badminton and not just study, but also the feeling and like the motivation that they gave me and the inspiration that they gave me. Um, it really allowed me to like take training a step further. And so if I could change one thing, I just wish I had done it sooner because I think that kind of got the ball rolling of like me getting a lot better and me overcoming a lot of like the mental barriers and plateaus that I thought I was facing. So
Yep, yep.
yeah.
Definitely. Like watching film, whether it's your own film or like, those professional players film, because obviously they're doing something right? The good player, the top players are obviously doing something right. So that's why we need to watch them to learn from them. And honestly, like I probably like started watching film a little later than you. So I definitely wish I did that more too. And I think it definitely helps, because
Yeah,
then you
for
get an
sure.
idea of what shot you can hit, what shot you don't, want to avoid or anything like that,
Yeah.
definitely. And now after that, you finished junior badminton, you graduated from high school, and you actually started school in UC Berkeley, which is amazing, right? Great school. And you're preparing to finish college. But then you decided to pursue professional badminton and
Mhm.
drop school. What made you change your mind to play badminton?
Um, So basically I wanted to play badminton after juniors. Like I still wanted to keep playing, but my mom and I basically came to like a little bit of a compromise where I would first go to school and then pursue badminton afterwards. But then after freshman year and second half or first half of sophomore year, I just couldn't, like, all I could think about was like playing badminton again. And it affected how I would, do well in class. Like I just was not my mind was not in class when I'm in class. I'm always thinking about when's open gym, when's my next training session. So it wasn't working out. And I communicated to my mom about it because, she wants me, if her goal is for me to graduate, like we can both work together and say like, I'm not doing a good job in school. So I'd rather, get this, badminton itch out of me before I continue pursuing my degree. And she said it made sense, and it took some convincing, but I think the compromise worked out in the end, where after I could take a gap year from UC Berkeley, and all of 2019 basically was dedicated to me training full time, playing tournaments full time, and basically just eat, sleep, badminton, and repeat. So
yeah, that is probably a tough decision to make, and you talk about your mom. I'm actually gonna bring that up. Your mom is obviously your biggest supporter, and I just want to say your mom is like one of the most like kind and like outgoing moms that I've ever met, and she definitely passes the vibe check, right? And she's like, every time we go out to like a different country for like Pan Ams or whatever it may be, she's like a mom to all the team players, to all the players on the US team. But how has she impacted your badminton career and your life in general?
She is basically like deserves all the credit for my badminton career so far. And she she drove me to training, like, I don't know, maybe 2-hour round trip when I was a kid, 4 times a week. And it's not like she was also like pushing me either. Like she wasn't forcing me to go to training, but it's when I like ask her, can I go to training today? She's willing to drive that hour there, wait 3 hours, and then drive 1 hour back. So it takes, like, people don't really see it, but like the parents are the MVP of like the success of the child. I would say in juniors for sure, but in terms of how she's impacted my life, she's definitely like, my best friend. She's like my number one supporter. I could tell her anything. She could tell me anything. And yeah, she's basically my number one fan. Yeah, I can go on and on. She's yeah, she and I have a really close relationship, and she definitely helped me in every way in my life. So I owe a lot to her. So, yeah.
I think we all owe, our parents, a lot of things, and, whoever it may be, you should always appreciate what you get. Right.
Yeah.
And, so making that decision between college and pursuing your dream to be an Olympian can be very tough. Right. And I know you said that it was tough to convince your mom to do that, which is, like every household, right? When you have that conversation, it's very tough. If you could give the younger players like one advice on their transition to professional badminton, what would it be?
I would say communicate very effectively with your parents, and because not everyone's gonna, come out of high school rich and like have the financial luxury of traveling to like countries all over the place. And I would say come and talk to your parents, come in with like a plan, tell them I'm going to do this, this, and this at this, and this time. And then, yeah, reach some sort of compromise. Like, I think you can make anything work if you really want it badly enough. And so my biggest advice is just be effective in communicating. And also make sure you really love the sport before you say you want to do it full time, because it's for sure like a job sometimes. Like you'll have good days, you'll have bad days, and then the only way you can push through the bad days is if you really love the sport. So
Yeah.
I think ask yourself the question, do I really love it? Or sometimes people will say, oh, I feel like I only love winning and I don't really love badminton. So I would say make sure you really know the answers to those questions.
Yeah, definitely. That's really good advice. That's really good advice. And just side note to all the players, if you are going to have that conversation, make sure you like wash the dishes or something beforehand,
Yeah.
get them happy,
Be
all
super
that
nice
stuff.
to them. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, definitely do that. But obviously, you chose the Olympian route. You were able to convince your mom, and you started your professional badminton career in the beginning of 2019, in hopes of playing the Olympics in 2020. How did you train to prepare for all the tournaments?
So I'm a mixed doubles player / doubles player. So I was trying to get my mixed partner to like train with me full time, but she was still in high school. So I felt like the only way I could focus on myself and like get better in mixed without playing with my partner is to train singles a lot. And so I moved to Malaysia for a couple months and just trained there full time. And it's hard to transition. It's a little harder, but I would say mixed and singles has some common aspects. So especially if I'm the guy in the back, I can cover for the girl, because singles is all independent, right? So it's all whatever you lose because you just weren't good enough. You can't blame anyone else but yourself. So I think if I were to like practice that independence aspect, I can apply it to my mixed doubles, and hopefully if my partner is having a bad day or something out of my control, I can do more than 50% to cover up and compensate for that.
Yeah.
And vice versa, she can do the same thing when I'm having a bad day. So
nice. Go ahead, Vincent.
Yeah, that's it. It's more like I think practicing singles was like the only thing I could do at that moment. So
yeah. I mean, of course, I'm sure you would have rather just like, train together. I think it would have been like a little better, but yeah, singles definitely have a lot of like similarities with mixed. Obviously you have to cover a lot, you have to run a lot, and cover those spots. And you say you did go to Malaysia to train. What was that training like? Like, what was different about it?
Definitely more physical. So I would say before Malaysia, my physical was okay. But then when I moved to Malaysia, I was like, oh man, my physical is not okay. Like these guys, they can run all day. And even the ones that you don't think can run because like they don't look as fit, they can still run. Like, it's definitely a physical aspect. Like they work really hard on their physical. They do 2 sessions a day, every single day except Sunday. And one session will always have some kind of physical. So either in the gym or running. And usually that's more than how people train in the US, at least, because only we have school to worry about, and so people can only fit in usually 1 session a day. So it was it was really different.
For sure. I think physical, like you mentioned, is extremely important. Badminton, there's like basically 2 sides: skills, right? Skill set, and then your physical, because you can't have one but not the other. It wouldn't work, right? And that's also why we have the class, right? The online physical training class. So make sure, if you want to work on your physical, it's very all that good stuff. It's good. So it's very organized, you can say. And it basically, I think it's important for players. That's why we started the class, was to make sure that players can now have a more like, how would I say it? Like a more, like you're able to work different parts of the body and make sure that you're strong everywhere, instead of just, one day doing push-ups, the other day, oh, I'm feeling sit-ups today. And, so it's a little more organized, and yeah, it does help. So definitely, physical is definitely one of the most important things, right? And you did mention, while we were talking before, that the game you played in Azerbaijan International Challenge against Mark Lamsdas and Isabel Hertridge made a big impact on you and your partner, Brianna Chi. I almost said Brie because that's what we just call her. But what happened and how did it change you?
So at that time we played you know, Mark and Isabel first round in an international challenge, which is supposed to be a little bit easier than what maybe the tournaments they're used to, because Mark and Isabel were, at the time they were like top 20, but now they're like top 15 or something in mixed doubles. And so it was our first time playing like a really high ranked pair. And so we came into it with the mentality of, you know, nothing to lose, just play your best so that we can learn the most. And we were playing so well. Like, I was doing trick shots that I've never even practiced before, and I was like landing every shot. And Brianna was also playing fantastic. And we took first game, and then second game, it was like 19 all, and then we had this one really intense rally where both sides were just refused to like die at all. And then Brianna had a really good shot where it just caught the net and rolled over. So we were winning 2019 match point against like a really big name pair. And I was like freaking out. We were both freaking out. And unfortunately, we weren't able to close it. It's the American curse where we just fall just short. And so they ended up catching up second game, and then third game, they won 21-18. So after the match, I went up to Mark and asked him like, hey, can we talk about our match? And like, I would really like to learn more from someone like you, right? And he told me about a lot of stuff in mixed doubles that I, you know, haven't thought about at all. And some of it has to do with chemistry with your partner, how to communicate effectively on court. And then other parts are more technical, like what shots you should do in certain situations. And basically, I ended up learning a lot from having that conversation with him. And, you know, the very next week, we played a Mauritius international series. And, you know, we applied that newfound advice and also the confidence that we had from, you know, doing well against the top pair. We ended up winning Mauritius International Series. We beat people that we didn't think we could beat in the beginning. And so, you know, that changed a lot of our mentality of what kind of pair we were. We used to think that like we're still, you know, super young and naive. Like we don't know exactly how to play professionally, but we definitely did play professionally against Mark and Isabel. And it gave us the confidence that we needed to, at least we have the potential in ourselves. Now we have to consistently find it within. So it was a good turning point. Yeah.
And, you know, you actually answered my other question. So that's great. It's a really good story. It just shows you how important your mentality and having confidence is, you know, when you play. And I think that's like a common problem nowadays, like through junior players. I think a lot of them, they're not very confident in their own skills. And when they go on the court, they don't have that, I know I can win, that kind of attitude. And that's something that, you know, we can improve upon. And, you know, I think that when you have that kind of mentality, you already won half the game, you know, like, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. Just like the Malaysia USA 2015 junior story. Yeah.
Definitely. And of course, you know, anything can happen on the court, and then small things like that can make a big difference. But your growth and your progress, you know, also has a lot to do with Coach Tony Gunawan, you know, great player, great coach, and your teammates in GBA. First, you know, what is it like to work with Coach Tony on like a professional level?
He, you know, he dedicates like so much time for me, and like I am forever in debt to him. Like I can't pay him back because he's just taught me so much about the sport. And, you know, he's like, in my opinion, the greatest doubles player of all time. And so to be learning from someone like that is, you know, if I fail, it's on me. You know, I like having that control over myself. I can't blame anyone. I can't blame a coach. I can't blame sparring partners or whatever. It's all on me. I have the resources to succeed. Now I just need to actually find it within myself. And so the way Tony coaches, he thinks so much, and he thinks so far ahead into the game. Like when I play doubles with him, sometimes he tells me, he like whispers to me before he serves. He's like, hey, I'm gonna serve short to the left. He's probably gonna push here to the right, and so you're
Yeah.
gonna hit that shot, and I'm gonna cut off his drive,
Mhm.
and it happens exactly as he says, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, that's crazy. I want to be like that one day,
Yeah.
and so just stuff like that. Like he teaches me to think a lot during the game, and
Mhm.
um, it's definitely super helpful when you're losing, because sometimes when you're winning you can go on autopilot and still win, but
Yeah.
if you're losing you got to change something and you got to think about your solution, and sometimes I won't always have a coach behind me, so I have to do it, originally I have to do it for myself, and so
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. I think Coach Tony, you said how he can like predict exactly what happens. I think that's like, professional players, like they're very like extremely experienced, and they know that if they hit there, that shot is gonna go straight, right?
Yeah, right.
And yeah, it just shows how like experienced Coach Tony is, and how good he is at what he what he does. And
Mhm.
and besides, having a good coach, of course, in order for you to succeed, you need to have good teammates. And most of your teammates are actually junior players. How
Mhm.
have your younger teammates have an impact on your game?
um well, it's always a good thing for younger players to have like a few older players to like kind of follow after. So um, I'm really glad that like I can be that someone for them, but also they also help me a lot. So it's like a mutually beneficial relationship between us, because I train with Don Averia, Henry Tang, Joshua Yang. Especially since COVID happened, we split into small groups, and I've been training with these three a lot, and I can learn so much from them. Before, when I was a junior, and like older players that I train with, they kind of had the mentality of like, I can't learn anything from you. Like, there's no way you can beat me anyways. Like, you're younger. Uh, I'm older. I'm better. And so I vowed to never have that kind of mindset and like give my younger peers that kind of impression, because like it doesn't help anyone, honestly. And so once I found, you know, once I understood that, I applied it to when I'm training with all of these younger kids. And for example, Don, he can teach me a lot about like his netting, his drop cross shot that he's always like super
Yeah.
good, super good at. And then same with Josh, his net is amazing and his attack is super strong. Henry, his unpredictability in the
Mhm.
front, and like his cutoff and doubles. Like you can learn something from everyone. And so like you said, it takes good sparring partners to also create a good player. And I appreciate all of them and much more. There are plenty of GBA kids that teach me a lot every day. So yeah.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize it until you said it. Like the players back then, the older players, they really like didn't. They only focused on their thing. They really didn't look at the younger players at all. I actually just realized that, and that's actually very true. Because like back then, it was just the older players were most of the time, just focus on their thing, and just after they finish training, they just leave. That's it, right? We don't really talk. So
Mhm.
yeah, I totally agree with that now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely teammates are really important, whether it's for support or competition, right? And
Yeah.
you're obviously a specialist in mix and doubles. I think in my mind, one of the greatest mixed players in junior badminton. And um, what do you think makes a great partnership?
Um, a great partnership is just, honestly, it comes down to a lot of off-court personality to see if you guys can like if you guys are having perfect chemistry on court, but you guys can't communicate off court about like your potential problems in the future, uh, you're gonna hit a plateau, right?
Yeah.
Um, Whereas if you have a partner, let's say you guys aren't very good on court, but you guys can talk through it and you guys can improve certain aspects, in the long run, that second partnership is more ideal than the first. And I think being able to, set aside your differences and try to reach a compromise, of like maybe how you see the game, or how you want to train or something. It honestly comes down to a lot of can you get along with this partner off court? Uh, I think no matter how badly you play together on court, you guys can always work on it and fix it if you guys have that chemistry. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think that is the main thing about having a good partner, or what makes a good partnership.
Mhm.
And sorry, also I forgot to mention, I'm not really a singles player,
Yeah.
and training with all these singles players, all these younger singles players, uh, they they kind of push me to like become a really good singles player so that I can spar well with them, so that I can give them proper sparring, because the most I can offer them is like a good game in singles. Um, Even though I'm not gonna pursue professional singles,
Yeah.
I really appreciate them, giving me the competition and the drive for me to push them back and
Yeah.
make them better, because Josh and Don are going for singles. So
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that
No, it's all good. It's all good.
earlier.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Teammates, they push you and stuff. That's a good thing about them, right?
Yeah.
And when you said about the partnership, how to have a good partnership, I definitely agree with you. It's important that your personalities match, right? And also have a good communication. It's important for players when you play doubles and mixed to communicate on the court. Like you got to talk to your partner, right? Sometimes, when they play nowadays in junior badminton, they don't even talk. And it's just like the coach is talking to them and they're like kind of
Yeah.
separate. So it's
Right,
very
right.
important, you kind of work together and really like communicate, and that's
Mhm.
great. I totally agree with you. And now because of COVID-19 and everything that's going on, what is your goal now for the future?
I guess my like near future goal is I would like to win an international challenge tournament, because I've won international series and like lower ranked tournaments, but I think my next big mountain to climb is winning an international challenge ranked tournament. And so near future, that's the goal. And then in the future, in the far future, maybe 3-4 years from now, I wish to become like top 20, top 10 in the world for mixed or doubles, and just play really good badminton matches, like quality matches that people can review and talk about, and kind of just put USA on the board up there, with the top countries of badminton. So
Will you
um,
be, will you
yeah.
be going for 2024 Olympics, or is that a goal of yours?
Yeah, it'll be a goal, but I don't think I'm like uh, my main dream is not really to like play in the Olympics necessarily. It's more like uh, if I were to achieve my main goal of like being top 15, top 20, I'm gonna play Olympics. Like
Mhm.
it's not really. Um, I don't want to just participate, right? I want
Yeah.
to be a top contender, um, and even if I don't win, it's
Mhm.
not like that's not really my dream is to win, but
Mhm.
my dream is more like uh, if people were to take a guess on who would win, who might win,
Mhm.
maybe I would want to be like one of the names, and so
Mhm. Just put
maybe
badminton, on the map for US, right? And
yeah, just
definitely.
tell them that we're not just a joke that you can like
Yep.
make fun of all the time. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. That's a good goal, that's a good goal. And I think I forgot to mention this. Vincent was actually unable to play the higher ranking tournaments in order to get into the 2020 Olympics because you can let him know, Vincent.
Oh yeah. Don't make this mistake if you're going for the
Yeah.
Olympics. But Brianna Chi and I, my mixed partner, we started the climb like way too late. Like basically, we got 5 months before the qualifying period to climb our ranking to like top 50, and then from that top 50 position, we get a year to like uh, play all these big tournaments so that we can get more ranking points. Um, yeah, it didn't work out because we started way too late, and by the time we're able to sign up for the bigger ranked tournaments, there's only like 5-6 months left in the qualifying period, and that's definitely not enough time since they take the top 10 results. And yeah, that's a main takeaway from 2019 that I can learn
Mhm.
from. So
Yeah,
just don't start too
definitely.
late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the players that are listening, if you're trying to go to play the Olympics, make sure you start ahead of time and really prepare for it and do do your like work, you know, for rankings and everything like that. Because if you're too late, you can't even do it. Like it's just not possible, right? So definitely that's something to watch out for if you're going for it. Now let's get back to it. You have obviously played some of the top players in the world, right? How big do you think the gap is between you and your competitors, and what do you think you can do better to close this gap?
It's hard to say how big the gap is because badminton is a sport like where nothing's really consistent. Like if we look at the top players, maybe Kento Momoto is like an exception of being consistently at the top, but even him, he loses to certain players that he won't usually lose to. And I would say the gap is, in my head, it's not really too big, especially because, like, you know, Mark Lamsfis, Isabel Hertrich, I'm gonna go back to that example. They recently won the Denmark Open, which is like a super 500 or 750, I forgot. But yeah, I feel like if I have the potential to almost beat them, you know, it could have been one lucky net roll for us to like 2-set them. Like if we have that potential, we definitely have like what it takes to take our game past like just another US pair. But I would say consistently finding that and playing like that is like the main difference. I would say pro players, they might waver a little bit, like they'll have bad days, but and their bad days kind of dip just a little bit, whereas like we are all over the place. We're inconsistent in terms of US performance. And so I think to bridge the gap, I just need to like, I don't know, something about that game. I need to recreate that mentality. I need to recreate like, it's not even the shots that I need to recreate, because if I have done them once, I know I can do it again. But yeah, maybe just the mentality, and then
kind of like consistency, right? Just being consistent is important, right?
Being consistent and being consistently, you know, mentally tough. And so
yeah, being able to do that, like that game that you did like over and over again, to be able to, you know, perform on that same level, right?
Yeah, not just once, like people will say like, oh, it's a fluke. Like I need to consistently be like that. So
yeah. Nice. That's great. That's a good plan, you know. And you know, we are all US players and we've played tournaments for the country, representing the country. And a lot of players right now who want to go pro, unfortunately they can't because it's too expensive, right? And the US doesn't really give any support to badminton players. How are you going to find yourself more financial support to sustain all the traveling and training?
So what happened in 2019 was that I would send out a bunch of like, I made like an athlete profile and like sent it to like a bunch of different companies, like maybe over 200. And like, if you shoot your shot 200 times and you land one, it's like, it's worth it. So luckily I got a company to sponsor me, and they almost basically completely funded my 2019 year. And you know, I'm super grateful to this company called NGY, and they, I don't know, we don't really talk about future plans, but then I'm planning to do something similar to what to how I was able to land that NGY sponsorship. And so hopefully I can, you know, build up my badminton resume more before that has to happen. And
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome. I actually didn't know. That's actually a really good plan, you know, to find sponsorships like that. That's great. And now we're going to get into the fun question. We always have one for everybody that gets on here. For you, the fun question is, which top player do you think you are like most similar to?
Top player. Okay. I would say for men's singles, even though I'm not a singles player, I would say it's Tien Minh from Vietnam, because in juniors, I would just lift and clear all day in singles. Like it looked like a drill playing me. It was like they attack only and I defend only, because I was super confident in my defense and no confidence in my offense. So I would say Tien Minh in singles, and then maybe mixed / doubles. a Walmart version of Praveen Jordan, probably, because
Nice.
he's his style is like very he takes it slow, like he moves like not super fast like someone like Zheng Sui, but like he'll take it slow and then he'll pounce on it like right when he sees the opportunity. So he's like a really smart and efficient player. And so I would like to think that like I don't really go all out all the time. I'm trying to like look for opportunities in mixed doubles, create opportunities with quality shots, and then once I find that opening, then screw quality. It's all about power. Like just go all out. And I think that's why I like mixed doubles so much. It's a lot of like chess gameplay mentality, and then it also has like the fun part of, you know, hitting a or a big winner from the back. So yeah.
Nice. Those are really good names that you mentioned, you know, all great players. And that's great. Now let's get into the viewers' questions. So the first question from a viewer, I think we can all guess who's this from, but on a scale of 1 to not as much as Esther, how much do you love badminton?
Not as much as Esther. Well, the number doesn't really exist in that scale because that's a small range, but I would say I love badminton more than
Esther.
More than Esther. Yeah. Whatever that number is.
Yeah.
+1 for me. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Next question. How long have you been playing?
I've been playing badminton since I was 3, and then I've been training since I was 7. So.
Nice. Yeah. So it started very young, right? We all started pretty young. Yeah. And which badminton partner did you have the most chemistry with?
Did it specify doubles or mixed, or just partner in general?
No, just partner in general.
I'm gonna assume they mean juniors, so maybe I would say honestly Crystal Pan for mixed doubles. Mainly because we didn't have to talk much, but like we just had on-court chemistry, and I think it has to do with like our play styles. We both can survive the defense well, and we can transition to offense pretty easily. So usually it's like mixed doubles, they smash to the girl, or they'll drop to the guy to put him in the front or something. If that happens, like Crystal can hold her ground in the back, and she can defend like big smashes from the guy. And so that kind of partner plays well with me because I'm a pretty defensive player, and then I keep waiting and looking for the opportunity to smash. So I would say Crystal mixed, and maybe like between Brian Duong and Joseph Pittman in doubles, because they're my close friends, but also they were really good on court. So.
Yeah, nice. Those are good picks. Awesome. Next question: what's it like playing with Coach Tony? Because you guys actually played the tournament together, right?
Yeah. Tony carried me so hard in an international series one time. Like I was still like 17, 18, and international series is like not easy to win, you know, even for the adults. And so for Tony to carry me in that big of a tournament is like crazy to me. And like I said before, he just reads the game so well. Even if, you know, his partner is not as strong or as capable as him, he can cover, and he teaches me so well when I'm playing on court with him. So definitely like a huge shout out to Tony for that.
Yeah. Coach Tony actually plays with a lot of his players, which is actually really like, it's a really like good opportunity to play with one of the greatest doubles players of all time, you know. Right. I think it's awesome that he does that, you know. That helps his students a lot, and yeah, that's great. I wish I had the chance to play. Actually, I've actually talked to Coach Tony many times, like in tournaments, and I always want to play against him. And then he's like, yeah, we'll play. And then, but we never got a chance. But that would be awesome if I can play a game against him. But anyway,
hey, come train with us at least once, and then we'll play some doubles. Yeah.
I'm going to UCLA, you know, after the pandemic's over, so I'll definitely drop by and then.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Right. Me, Tony versus you, and like Josh or Don or Henry.
Yeah, we can
that'll be
do it. We
fun.
can do it. Definitely. Next question. They asked, what strings do you use?
I use BG80 usually, but I also like to jump around for different strings and try different strings. But yeah,
Nice.
usually BG80.
Yeah. For these kind of things, just like, it's different for everybody a little bit, right? Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Preference.
Yep. And next question. What's it like meeting Zheng Ziwei and Huang Yaqiong? For the people that don't know, they're a mixed doubles pair who's very, very good.
Yeah. I only met Zheng Suwei, and it was because the 2019 Sudirman Cup, usually they ask one boy and one girl from every country to represent like their country in an opening ceremony. And luckily, China got placed next to the US on the podium. And so I talked to Zheng Suwei, and he's actually so nice. And it's so funny. He's not like he's not like someone I thought world ranking #1 would act like. He I remember the stage was really hot, and so like a lot of the representatives were like sweating, and then he like turned around and he was like, bro, it's so hot, but in Chinese. He was like, 好热. And then I was like, yeah, for sure. And he's just so friendly with everyone around him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah. Nice. They like to have fun too.
Yeah.
Nice. Next question. What's your best advice to student athletes like you? P.S. Thanks for being such a good role model.
That's a nice comment. #1 advice I would say is to not compare yourself to anyone. Actually, I don't know. This pandemic has made a lot of people closer because they like call up their friends or something. And I had a lot of calls about from players who wanted to go professional, and they asked like, while they were asking me what they should do, they always doubt themselves by saying, oh, but I'm not as good as blank or blank. And I'm always so triggered. I'm like, dude, don't compare yourself. Like, it's all about what you can do, and it's not about what you can do right now, because everyone can better themselves. And especially for US, like if we're getting to like a decent level with school on our hands, imagine what we can do like if we were to train full-time or something. And so I would say just have more confidence. Don't compare yourself to anyone, because at the end of the day, badminton's a sport against yourself. Can you be better than how you played maybe a month ago or something? Your opponent, you should probably assume, is like the best player in the world, and it's all up to you to like survive or figure out a way to win the point. But you should never count on your opponent losing because he's like really bad. You should always come into it with like, I'm gonna take the victory, I'm gonna take the initiative to win. So
definitely like you should always compare against yourself, always look at yourself and be the best version of yourself, right? That's like that champion mentality, right? That's great. Next question. Who was the most memorable junior player you've played against?
Most memorable junior player, that's tough. I would say Brian Duong. We were rivals for a really long time. And then maybe towards the end of juniors, I would say Brian Yang. So both Brians.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
Yeah, Brian Yang was like really memorable because he was 2 years younger than me, and I've never heard of him before. And then all of a sudden, he just like whipped me so badly in the finals in mixed doubles, and I was like, wow, this guy is amazing. This guy, I would never forget that moment, because usually it's kind of sad because Pan Am Juniors, when it's my second year, I have always gotten first place in mixed doubles, and that was the first time, and it was my last year in under 19. That was the first mixed game I lost in Pan Am, so that also made it pretty memorable for me.
Brian is just on another level.
He's crazy.
He's crazy. He quadruple crown in Junior Pan Ams, guys. Quadruple crown, 4 gold medals. I don't think anybody's ever done that before. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But anyway, last question of the day from another viewer. What is the best route you'd suggest for aspiring U.S. junior players to the pros, like with college?
Best route, I would say, is try to find out if there's an online program for whatever school you go to, because I think training has to consume your life basically if you want to become like the next level top pro. Yeah, I'm just gonna say how it is. Like I don't think if we just stay with school like how we do in juniors, it's really hard for any junior to surpass like that US barrier that we're always faced with. And I think the only way to pass it is if you really devote yourself fully to badminton, and that means like, you know, training maybe twice a day, almost every single day. And then you can also do online school on your free time, on your downtime. Yeah. But yeah, my philosophy is like, if you want to do really well in school and you want to do get like a double major in whatever, all these clubs, you should do that, but don't pursue badminton at the same time. I think there's a saying where like if you chase two rabbits, you won't catch any of them, right?
Yeah.
So you should focus on one thing at a time. And if you want to do school and badminton, I would suggest doing online and then upping your training schedule. Yeah.
Nice. I think that's like the best route. What you said. Because obviously like school is a big obstacle for, you know, badminton players if they want to go pro, right? Because it obviously takes up a lot of time. And what people don't realize is like badminton, if you go professionally, you train that amount of time, like it takes up a lot of energy, right? And like mental energy as well. Like during the day, like you're pretty tired and you don't want to like exhaust your mind even more, like doing clubs and doing this and doing that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So definitely that's the best route. By far. But yeah, that is going to be the end of the podcast today. Thank you so much for coming in, Vincent. I know you're an extremely busy guy, and you know, he trained the whole day today. That's why we're doing this at night, because he's very busy. But I thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me, Tony.
Definitely, man. And for everybody else that's watching, make sure you guys click the like button and the subscribe button down below. It is greatly appreciated. And also, if you're interested for that online physical training class to get to Vinson's level, yes, you want to be, if you want to play the Olympics or if you want to win a couple junior national titles, you know, we can definitely help you guys with that. I won 9 of those myself. So definitely, if you want to win, definitely join the class. You know, it'll help you a lot. And remember to DM me or email me down below. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, Vincent.
See you guys.